आमच्या भविष्या खातीर ते बलिदान दितात. आम्ही मजेत घरात असतात ते त्रासांची येतात. सीमेर उबे राहून देगीत तुमकां फक्त देशाचीच काळजी. तुमका आमचा मानाचा मुजरा सलाम फौजी, सलाम फौजी. तुमका आमचा मानाचा मुजरा सलाम फौजी, सलाम फौजी.
Jai Hind viewers and welcome to my show SALAAM FAUJI. As you all know, this show is to create an awareness about the armed forces and to motivate our young boys and girls to join the armed forces. Today we have a senior officer from the Indian Army, from the Gorkha Regiment. Gorkha Regiment has won many gallantry awards such as Paramveer Chakra, Veer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra, Sena Medal, etc. Today we have with us Col Sunith Cardozo. He was commissioned into the same unit as his father, the 5 Gorkha Regiment. Col Cardozo was part of IPKF in Sri Lanka. He has served in the highest battlefield in the world, Siachen Glacier, during the Operation Parakram. He is son of celebrated Major General Aguiar Cardozo, AVSM, SM. Welcome to our show, Col Cardozo.
Thank you, John. So nice of you to get me on the show, and thank you to Prime TV also.
Please tell us about your education.
I was educated in one of the best schools of the country, in St. Columba's in Delhi, and these are run by the Irish Christian Brothers. We were instilled with a lot of values, value education. We were allowed to get into games, everything. It was an all-around education. I was very lucky to be educated in one of these schools. I did my schooling from there, and then I did my BCom honors from Delhi University. And post which I had taken the exam for the CDS in my 3rd year of college, and as soon as the results of the CDS exam were out, I went for my SSB. By that time the college exams were over. I joined the academy after that.
Oh, great. Where was your SSB, sir?
My SSB was in Bangalore. I had been called for 17 SSB in Bangalore.
When did you join the Indian Military Academy, and how was your basic training?
See, I joined the military academy immediately after my college thing was over. It was basically shock action. You see, you join the academy, they basically break you physically and mentally. With no questions asked. You are basically made into discipline is your basic thing. Be the correct place, the correct time, the correct dress. You don't break those. You also learn survival in the academy. You are under stress all times. You are with course-mates. It's bonding for life. You go to a particular place, you got to be there on time. You've got a problem, you reach out to your course-mates, they will help you, you reach there. That's how things are done. It's understanding about leadership, uniform, rank, seniority. You have seniors living with you in your complex. You have juniors also, and you are also part of them. Stress on sports, everything is given. Military subjects, you have tactics, weapon training, you have firing, drill, everything. That's how they make a man out of you there.
And how did you get your father's regiment?
See, for that I had an option. If you go to the academy, you get at the end of your thing, you get a merit, overall merit where you stand. In each there are blocks where you are given certain vacancies for each arm. In my case, I had the option of taking parental claim. My father was from 15GR, first 5GR. He commanded first 5GR, and he was also wounded in 45GR in Sylhet during the Bangladesh ops. So I had the option of choosing either of them. I happened to choose going to first 5GR, and that's how I got that chance of joining the battalion. Otherwise, I could have taken an open category where you could go to any arm. You could go to armored, RT, you could go to anything. But I chose to join my father's battalion. It's also a matter of honor. You see, when you join your own father's regiment, in my battalion, at that time there were 5 officers who were second generation. You know, at one point of time they were uncle, today they are sir. It's a different thing, and you are also welcomed into that thing. There are third generation, fourth generation people also serving in the army today. It's a matter of pride to join your father's regiment.
And where were you posted after your basic training?
Immediately on being commissioned, I was posted to the battalion, which was presently, or rather at that point of time, was posted in Sri Lanka. My commanding officer asked for me to come to Sri Lanka post his. I remember I reached Madras. From there I had to catch a flight, early morning flight, and that was the courier that takes your supplies to Sri Lanka. I was put on that flight. I reached the airport. I remember as soon as I got down from the aircraft, there was firing just outside. I was put into a small, I was just rushed and whisked away and put into a small 4x4 room where another officer was already in, and the door was shut. We were there for 4 hours. Somewhere in between, one chap came to us, opened a can of mango juice, mangoes with juice inside that, and he just gave it to us and he pushed away. After 4 hours, we were opened up and things had cooled down. That was my first day, my first experience, and I reached my battalion late at night that day.
You were inducted into Sri Lanka as part of IPKF. Please tell us about this experience.
Actually, when you join the army as an officer, you're not given command of troops straight away. You put on your rank, but then you're put under surveillance. You've got people who are experienced. I was put into a company with a very senior officer, and I had men, a sergeant who was put in charge of me. I was made to learn the details of whatever your men are doing. Whatever men do, you do with them. If you know what your men do, then only you can learn to understand, live with them, understand them. For the first 3 months, I was under a sergeant and a JCO. They were looking after me. They taught me everything. And as my commanding officer straight away told me, first thing, no heroics. Whatever they do, what they tell you to do, you will do just that. And that's how I got. So I was there when the Indian Army was actually pulling out from there. And it was an experience itself, because I had to do a lot of patrolling, moving with troops, living with them, guard duty at night. I was living with them, doing what they did. I was not even allowed to enter the officers' mess, and that's how it was. The battalion got de-inducted from there. We had a couple of encounters, but that was what it was. And we moved out from there within 3 months of that.
IPKF Jaffna?
Yes, we were in the north. Jaffna, Palali, we were there.
Okay. Colonel, you have served 6 tenures in Jammu and Kashmir. How was your experience there?
Jammu and Kashmir is a fabulous experience. My time, when I was there, things were heating up. It was quite warm. The militancy had already peaked. So things were at its peak. Everything we did was under a lot of pressure. I served in Kupwara, one of the hottest areas near that time. After which I finished my tenure from there. I got posted to a peace tenure. For a peace tenure, I got posted to Dalhousie. But at that point of time, Poonch and Rajouri got hot. The entire division moved there. So I moved from Kashmir, went out for 3 months, and I was back again in Kashmir for another 2.5 years. So I had virtually 5 years to go in Kashmir, Poonch and Rajouri. There again, it was when the Pakistanis realized that Kashmir was being looked after very well, they tried to get into Rajouri Poonch because they thought that our focus wasn't there. So that area heated up. So I had a 5-year tenure there. I got out from there, went for a peace tenure as a GTO to Allahabad. I barely finished the tenure when I got a call from the unit. We are going to the glacier, would you like volunteer to come back? I volunteered. I went back and joined the unit. Did a tenure with them in Siachen. Came out from there, we went to Firozpur for a short tenure. From there we went on a UN mission to Sudan. While I was in Sudan itself, I cleared my board and went to command another battalion, which was in Ranikhet. From there again we went to Rajouri Punch. It was a continuous tenure, one after the other into the valley. But it was good. It was an experience.
How was your experience in Sudan?
My experience in Sudan was fantastic. It was an eye-opener. The Indian Army is very, very well regarded. We were serving with troops from other armies, and you could see the difference. There were Pakistanis, Chinese, there were Russians, Sri Lankans, Bangladeshis, and of course, our troops were there. Whatever happened, UN had a lot of trust in the Indian Army because of our discipline and the way our troops function. We also had a force commander who was Indian, so that also you had a very, very strong reputation to look after.
Yeah, I always wanted to ask this question. In the army, Gurkhas and Gadwal Rifle and all these regiments, they are wearing black badges. What is the...
We have something called the rifle regiments. The rifle regiments, no brass. We have only black stars. Everything is without polish. So those rifle regiments march at a faster pace than the others. We are the 140 qadam per minute. Other are 120. A rifle regiment marches at 140 paces per minute. So that's why we are called rifle regiments. That's the only difference. But otherwise, we function. Everything is the same.
Colonel, you have served in the highest battlefield in the world, Siachen Glacier, during Operation Parakram. Tell us about this.
Yes, but I was inducted into the glacier as a company commander. That is, a company commander has to take up his entire company to the post on top. You have a base post where the company commander and the medical officers.
Captain that time or major?
I was a major that time. And a company commander along with his administrative staff stay at the base. And you have satellite posts around you. A number of satellite posts depending on the space, the area that is under you. These are under command of that company commander. You've got to ensure that your troops are safe, secure, and their administrative requirements are looked after. You see, there we have the challenge of weather. Terrain, it's a very harsh terrain. Weather, temperatures go to -60 at night. And during the day, it goes to -30, -20. For example, if you want to move at night, our movement only is at night, not during the day, because of the fear of the chance of avalanches taking place. Then crevices opening up during the day. So you've got to be very careful on that. It's all the responsibility of the company commander there. You move at night, you move with a lot of clothing. You walk, you sweat inside. At a point of time, if you stop to take a break, the sweat inside freezes. So you got no choice. What you got to continue moving. It's a very, very thing. And then you have major problems like health, HACO, high altitude cerebral edema, high altitude pulmonary edema.
Oh my God.
Casualty evacuation is a problem. At times, you have whiteouts for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Helicopters cannot come to pick up your casualties. You got to keep people in the HAPO chambers, keep pumping them all night. I've stayed up 3 nights to pump air into the HACO chamber or the HAPO chamber to make sure that a boy stays alive. And then he's evacuated once the weather goes through. And that too, under this, you have the Pakistanis also firing at you. So you've got all this, and plus you've got to retaliate also.
Even memory loss is a problem, I think.
What happens is, you're right, memory loss also takes place because your body is functioning at an altitude of 19,000 feet, 20,000 feet. Oxygen is 60% of what you have at sea level. The functioning of the body is not normal. You have to acclimatize to it. Some people acclimatize very fast. Some people have a problem. You've got to motivate your men. You've got to stand with them. You've got to be with them, ensure that they are physically fit. They're eating at times. At times they don't want to eat. Their body, your muscle wastage takes place. People don't want to do things, but you've got to make sure that every man jack of yours is fighting fit. And mentally also they are in absolute tip-top shape. You've got to be with your men 24/7. That is command leadership. That is what it's all about. So it was testing, always testing us, and that's how it was.
You have commanded 2nd 5 Gorkha Regiment on the line of control. How was it?
Command of a unit on the line of control is always a privilege. It's stressful, but that's where the men watch you. They've seen you in peace station, they've seen you grow in the unit. When you go, you take the men to battle. They look up at you for direction. And commanding your troops on the line of control is always a privilege. We have the people across watching you, casualties taking place, pulling them out from there, ensuring that you retaliate also as per the norms that are given. No violating the rules that are there. Flag meetings that are held. Whenever there's a violation take place, you go put your point across. They also come and put your point across. Administrative needs of the men, making sure that they are taken care of. It's quite a challenge itself, but a very interesting life there. It can only be given to you in the Indian Army.
Colonel, you have been awarded Chief of Army Staff Commendation in 2014 and GOC in C Northern Command Commendation in 2000. Could you please tell us about this?
The awards that you just mentioned are awards that I received while I was on staff. While I was a G3 or a grade 3 officer in the brigade headquarters, I was in charge of, I was a GSO3 intelligence. I was responsible for collecting intelligence about militants, movement of theirs, where are they likely to come, what are the places that they regularly visit. And based on all my inputs and the work that I did, I got a number of successful operations that were conducted, due to which I was given this thing. And the second thing that I got from the Chief of Army Staff again was for staff work. It is recognized, your work in the office is recognized, because of which I was given the second thing, the Chief of Army Staff Commendation Card.
You have served in Services Selection Board as a group testing officer from 2000 to 2002. What is the role of a group testing officer in SSB? What is it about?
See, I'll just brief you about, in the Services Selection Board, you have a 5-day stay in which you undergo testing with the group testing officer, an interviewing officer, and a psychologist. They are assessing you. The group testing officer assesses a candidate in a group. Group dynamics is what is checked with him. An interviewing officer is checking a person one-to-one, face-to-face. And a psychologist is checking your inner self. These three assessors do not meet, and one does not know which candidate is going to which assessor, and which you're distributed in batches. Even the group testing officer, when he goes in the morning to the ground, he doesn't know which batch, which group of candidates he's getting. It's a pick of the lot there, and you go, the group testing officer gets his group. The psychologist also picks up his chit and he gets one batch. And the interviewing officer also does that. We don't know who's the interviewing officer, psychologist, or the GTO. The GTO, as I mentioned, checks you in a group. How a candidate adjusts within a group under various situations. These tasks that are given by the group testing officer are time tested, and they make you do things in a calibrated manner, where you also have group dynamics taking place and interactions within the group are being watched. The GTO assesses each candidate. He's a very, very busy man for those. It's very trying, very testing. Within those few minutes that he has, he's able to assess each candidate, what they do, how they respond. The group discussion is a very fast thing. He'll tell you who said what to whom, when, what was the reaction, why did he say that, everything. And then subsequently he assesses it. Same way you have the group obstacle race and the various things. The group dynamics is progressively taking place. While all this is on, the group testing officer is assessing this. He comes to his conclusion at the end. The psychologist, meanwhile, will be assessing the papers that have been submitted. And the interviewing officer would have taken his interview and will also come to his conclusions. We don't meet. Then we have the conference. At the conference, the marks of each candidate is given out by the various assessors. And people who come to a particular discussion level, if a person's through, he's through. If he's not through, he's not through. Then you have people who come... Borderline is exactly what you've talked about. These people are the ones who are discussed there. And assessors give their own validation of whatever they've seen, whatever has happened. And then the candidate is called in. He's asked a couple of questions. If the candidate is able to justify whatever he did, and the group testing officer and the psychologist and the interviewing officer are on board, a candidate can be cleared by 1, cleared by 2, cleared by all 3 assessors. If he's cleared by 1, he has to be at least JBA or just below average with the others, and they are able to come up. It's a technical thing that they have, and that's how people make it. The discussion on how long it takes place is what is important, what they discuss, and that's how the candidate is either taken or accepted or not accepted.
Yeah, but now there are a lot of academies, private academies mushrooming about training for SSBs. Do you think that candidates should go for training before going to SSB?
See, assessment is based on performance of a candidate. If a candidate goes for coaching, we have no problem with that. It only shows that the candidate is interested in doing well, he is motivated, and he's interested in performing well at that. You see, there are certain things that one has to understand. When you go to the SSB, the assessors who are there are experienced. That facade that you have, they are able to break it.
Even if you are even if you are coming with a mask, they can
take that mask down. It's not a problem. They are able to assess it, but the manifestations that are shown, what is recorded, how a person reacts or behaves under various situations, the reactions that the GTO wants or the interviewing officer wants, they are able to maneuver. You see, if I want certain things and I feel this person is tested, he's coached very heavily, I can bypass that. I know how to bypass that and get him to a situation where I can draw out whatever I need. Those are the qualities that are given to us. Becoming an assessor is not easy. You have to you meet certain criteria while you're in service. In addition to that, you've got to undergo a course, a 3-month course, which is quite grueling. And once that course also is done, they check you in and out. Post which, if you clear, you are posted to a SSB, and you are also on probation for a duration of 6 months. Anytime they feel that you're not up to the mark, you can be sent back. But it's a very rare situation. The only people who are very good are put through that.
Goan candidates who are aspiring to join the armed forces, how do you advise them about preparing for SSB?
You see, any person who has to make it to the SSB has to first clear the written exam. The written exam has to be cleared. You have a paper in English, math, and GK, general knowledge. The general knowledge is science as well as current affairs and history, civics, everything in that. You clear that paper, then only you get called for the SSB. So your knowledge has to be wide. You have to read the papers. You have to know what's happening all over the world, current affairs. If you read what's happening in Ukraine, you should know where Ukraine is on the map. What are the neighboring countries around it? Who are the leaders? What are they doing? If you're talking about Afghanistan, you should know what Afghanistan is all about.
Current affairs also.
Current affairs is a major part, because when you go for the SSB, the interviewing officer will be speaking to you face to face, asking you questions. If you're unable to answer things that are happening, you've got to be good with your men. If you don't know anything and you can't stand up and answer them when they ask you certain things, what do you expect? You go for the group discussion, you've got to know what's happening all over the world. You've got to give your views on that. For that, you've got to read. You've got to know what's happening. You've got to be able to even decide what is right, what is wrong, who is correct, who is wrong, what the implications of something are, what are the future, what is likely to happen in future. You've got to be able to give your views, and you've got to do it in a very short and crisp manner, because you won't get time. In a group discussion, you've seen what happens. People talk so fast, nobody gives you time. You've got to give a point. It's got to be crisp and clear. When you give your lecture should be given in point form. Everything 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's it. You've given your main points, that's been accepted. That's how things are.
I think that PIQ form is also important, because
Absolutely.
the questions are asked from PIQ form.
Your PIQ form gives you inputs about what the candidate is all about. Your interests, your hobbies, what all you do, your education, your background, everything is given in that. The interviewing officer will interview based on that. He will also ask you things that are happening. You've got to show some interest in world affairs. If you say I'm a good footballer or I'm a good, I read, what do you read? Why do you find it so interesting? What have you found interesting about this person, or what he's written about this? He'll ask you about that. Whatever you've given, you've got to be clear about that. If you try and play football with him, he'll bring you back, he'll take you out, and you won't know what happened.
Thank you so much, Colonel. It was nice having you on our show. Lot of information you have shared with us, with our viewers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
Salaam Fauji.
सलाम फौजी तुमका आमचा मानाचा मुजरा सलाम फौजी